All right, so this is me. I'm going to try to go over a brief list of just how awful it has been being someone with autism and how awful people in general have just treated me and how sick of it I am. So I'm going to, I might go into some of these in the later detail. Right now, I'm just going to do a list and try to do it in under 10 minutes. Growing up, multiple adult neighbors would shut me out of hanging out with their kids, even when my sister was invited. Same with family friends. They would also tell their kids things about me and gossip about me. Remember, one of the kids said I was damaged once because their mom said that, or his mom, in early school. Awful control freak aides. Basically, one of them used to make me walk slow, which I hated because how dare I not bow to their will. Same thing with teachers. One time they tried to give me a timeout because I tried to help the gym teacher out by kicking a ball back to the ball bucket, and they told me not to do that. So they're like, well, you get a timeout. And I fought them on that because I'm like, no, I'm not. Also had several teachers who would shut me in like the corner with behind a mat. I remember it was kind of funny. I used to climb up the mat and punch them because I was mad at them for trying to hold me again in a corner. Used to get held down. I had therapists in different situations who did that crap too. I don't like therapists for that reason. Suppose I don't think they really care about people. They just care about the money they make. Could go into detail about that. Middle school, was bullied, and teachers did literally nothing. Oh, even though he said, I'm going to kill you. But then when I said tearfully, and it was clear I was at my wit's end, the same thing back to him, suddenly I'm getting detentions. And again, special ed teachers who enforced their will. There was someone said something to me and I got mad, and they're like, I'm going to call the office because I got mad. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. They wouldn't listen. So I did this, like, hey, stop talking for a second. Listen to me. And then they accused me of assault. I should have sued them for defamation. Really. I mean, you're a special ed teacher. Do you not understand that at some point you need to stop being such a control freak? That same teacher was a real pain too. She had like this reward system that I opted out of because it's like she would take points away if you did something wrong and then take more points away when you got mad about it because you felt it wasn't fair. I remember going to special ed school to get away from the bullies. Control freak teachers would give you cautions for arbitrarily doing things they didn't like. One time I joked during a story to start a fire. The guy was beating his fingers up, and I'm like, oh, hey, bad fingers. And they're like, that's a caution. It's so childish. Also, I had really great peers. One of them literally said, I don't like you. Another one snitched on me when I had a book once and basically broke something that I found important once, like a child. I don't think he ever got properly punished for it. Returning to school and getting away from that. I had several people who claimed they'd hang out with me, then ghosted me. Special ed teachers, I was less involved with this by now, but still control freaks and tried to force you to do productive things in study hall. Even if you didn't have work, you couldn't just do things that were fun because we have to have control. Youth group was always the last one picked and when people gossiped about me. I remember I also called out a couple people privately on Facebook. I sent Facebook Messenger messages kind of calling them out. One of these people was immature enough to post it publicly. And a mob of morons who should have seen that this behavior was out of line to take something someone said privately and post it publicly blindly backed them up. This was kind of when I was starting to realize people were idiots in general and they could not be relied on. They're not your friend. The general public is not your friend if you have autism. They are your enemy. In college, severe expression, more mob of morons, especially in my last year, who would ignore my jokes and then laugh at my expense when others screwed me over. They excluded me from a group project, including a loser roommate, shamelessly. It was so bad at the end that I went months without meaningful conversation. The only time, and most of the time when people talked to or about me was because they were whining about me using music to cope because it was too loud for them. Well, maybe if you'd actually reach out once in a while and stop shutting me out. Friends at the time also treated me like garbage. Out of sight, out of mind. Literally no effort to reach out. GF at the time would also constantly go to things that I wasn't invited to, even if I was in the same group. And when I tried to raise a stink about it, saying, why are you going? Stand in solidarity with me. If I'm not invited, you shouldn't go either. Because I would do the same for you. She'd downplay it and be like, you're being too sensitive. Wah. I remember at this time I started turning more and more online to get away from it. I remember there was an Agario. I played Agario for a while. I definitely was abrasive, but I was dealing with a lot of crap, so it's sort of not completely unjustified. And it was more venting, but people would attack me there. I remember there was this group that hated me because I got mad at them for taunt killing all the time. And then when they would go to servers with groups and pub stomp them and ruin the fun for everyone. And when I got mad and retaliated by kind of cross-teaming, griefing, yes, but again, if you're going to grief the game first, whose fault is that? People attack me for that again. Mob of morons ganging up on me, calling me a hypocrite, but not acknowledging how wrong it was to go to a game and stack teams and ruin the fun for everyone else. I've had several people in poker who've been rude, people who have attacked me and been rude. No one steps in to defend me, but then they attack me when I dare to defend myself or step in to defend others who are being attacked. I've even had the people who are being attacked attack me. I don't need someone to help me. Yeah, you're such an ingrate. Screw you. Yell at me for innocent comments. Definitely had people do that a lot in other things, though, so it's not just poker exclusive. Film fiction. About the time I was dealing with all the college stuff and at my wit's end, I tried to write stories about my experiences so far, trying to get emotional support, or at least have someone I could talk to about it. Instead, I was ignored, got no support, and people also went out of their way to vote bomb my story, doubling down on it when I stated it was hurting me and I was trying to write about long-term exclusion. And then when I made a post calling them out, a mob of morons attacked me, saying things like, "You deserve to be excluded. No one will miss you when that you're leaving." And one of my favorites, "Curb your autism." Reddit, I've had multiple mobs of morons downvoting me for different opinions because I tend to be kind of brazen when I see others being attacked wrongfully. I try to stand up for them because I know what it's like to be in that situation. It's such ironic, too. The mob of morons attacks me for stepping in to defend someone who's being attacked and refuse to back down when it's clear someone's bothering me, instead doubling down because they're children and laughing like, "It's so funny. That guy lived in your head rent-free. It's so funny. They're whining about it, LOL." You know, it's not funny to mess with people, nor is it funny to simp for people who are. I've made multiple posts crying for help on Facebook, usually just get ignored. Last time, though, a mob of morons who were acquaintances, too, so it hurt more than just random strangers, attacked me in the comments and called me selfish. But they didn't even bother to get my side of the story before passing judgment. They're just like, "You're being very selfish." The irony, too, was one of them was dumb enough to actually accuse me of being too toxic to be friends with them. It's like, who do you think you're talking about here? Attacking someone you're a friend with without even getting their side of the story when they're clearly hurting? Look who's toxic. Are you the pot or the kettle, you jerk? My parents, too, they've seen this, and instead of trying to understand where I'm coming from and get me help, they care more about taking it down because it looks bad. They want to rug sweep everything and never actually solve any problems. Advanced Wars by Web. Admittedly, this hasn't been quite as bad. There's been some people who have been decent, but remember there was one game I had that was really fun, and that's Sarcasm. I was playing slower than the other players, but still within the time limit, so I wasn't doing anything wrong. And a mob of morons attacked me in the press messages and basically accused me of griefing for playing slow. Because how dare I have a life and not have Advanced Wars by Web be my one and only thing I focus on. I tried being reasonable with them and telling them, well, if you joined a slower game, why are you whining about it? But they refused to back down. So I said I'd play slower if they didn't stop attacking me, and one of the people accused me of griefing them when they were sitting there twiddling their thumbs watching me be attacked beforehand. The irony stuns me, because it's not like they weren't griefing me to play faster, right? Teammate from that game also blasted me publicly when I privately told him the next game I randomly found myself with him in, "Hey, I know we're on the same team, but I'm not going to help you because when I was being attacked and we were on the same team last game, you did nothing to defend me. So why would I help you? You're not entitled to my help if you can't help me." Online Discord groups get ignored when asking for help repeatedly and then blasted when I call out how wrong it is. One of the famous excuses is people are busy and they have lives. So everyone in the server was too busy to respond to my comment. Not even one person had enough time. Except that's not true, is it? Because you had enough time to comment below mine an unrelated thing. Disability actors. Shut out by a disability-friendly group for being not competent by the person in charge, despite them being the one who screwed up. Friends. Neglect and ignore me, then get defensive when called out on it. Lie to my face about helping me with crucial things, and then dodge the question when I try to make progress. Claim they're trying as hard as they can when called out on it instead of making any attempt to actually keep their word. And shut out of an improv group for being on my phone too much. Never really cared to inquire what was wrong. They just excused me being rude and shut me out. So yeah, can you understand why I don't like people and why people suck and why people being autistic sucks?